Hello, everyone. I'm Dr. Jack Wolfson, the Paleo Cardiologist, and today I want to talk to you about keto for cardiac. So welcome to my presentation, and so happy to be able to give you this incredible content. Keto for cardiac, here's what you're going to hear on this presentation. We'll try and keep it to 20, 25 minutes. You're going to get a boatload of information that you're going to be able to implement and use. I'm going to give you answers for all of your heart ailments, the 10 commandments to health. We're going to talk about keto versus paleo. How are there similarities? What are some differences? I'm going to talk about nutrition, really give you some good insight there. How keto helps your heart. That's what you're here for. I'm the cardiologist. I'm going to talk to you about keto and heart health. I'm going to talk to you why pharmaceuticals are failing you. And also, I'm going to give you a blip on heart benefits of fasting. So stay tuned for that, because that's at the end, and you're going to love to see all the content about how fasting is heart healthy for you. Now, here we have the sperm and the egg. The sperm and the egg come together, this miracle of life, this miracle of how it all happened, how the sperm can find the egg up in that cavernous area, and how they come together and they bond. And one strand of DNA and another strand of DNA come together and form the double-stranded helix of DNA, and how that DNA replicates, and how one cell becomes 2 cells, and 4, and 8, and 16, and on and on and on, till you have a beautiful, amazing baby. And the baby comes out of the womb and can see and smell and hear and feel and nurse off its mother. And then it grows into a child and then into an adult. That miracle of life. Where do pharmaceuticals fit into that mix? Where do we get this top 10 list of pharmaceuticals where we've got drugs for blood pressure, drugs for cholesterol, and drugs for thyroid and diabetes and antibiotics? And when you feel like crap from taking all this stuff, now you got to take your pain pills. The truth is, when it comes to prevention, the medical doctors have nothing. They have absolutely nothing for prevention. All they have are pills and procedures for emergencies. They may say it's prevention, but it is not. Their plan is worthless. And I talk about that from the stage. I talk about it in any opportunity possible. I talk about it on the internet like I am right now. I speak to live audiences, and I'm teaching the truth. And how do I know that? Because I'm a board certified cardiologist. That's why. I'm a cardiologist who practiced in the hospitals for over 16 years, pills, procedures, angiograms, pacemakers, sickest of the sick. I've done it. I know that side, and that side is the wrong side. That side is great for emergencies, but for those of us that are looking to prevent disease, reverse disease, find a holistic way to do it, I'm the Paleo Cardiologist, and this is a copy of my book, The Paleo Cardiologist, The Natural Way to Heart Health, 17 chapters, 260 pages, over 300 references for everything what I'm saying, where it's coming from mainstream journals. So amazing info in my book. But let's talk about what is the problem here. Why does this blockage exist, as you see in the middle? We have a high-grade stenosis. We do not want this to happen. It doesn't have to be that way. But the answer is not pills. The answer is not procedures. The answer is not CT scans trying to detect coronary disease, which blast radiation, cause cancer, cause heart disease, cause brain damage. We don't want to do this stuff. This stuff is not prevention. Statin drugs are not prevention. Don't think you can just pop a Lipitor and eat whatever you want. That is a death sentence. You do not want that. Take a look at the largest statin trial. One of the original statin trials, the original statin trial that was done, where they looked at statin drug versus placebo. And this is the biggest journal in the world, JAMA, 1998. What they found from this study is that the statin drug doesn't save lives. This is not my opinion. This is just fact in there. All these people took drug for 5 years and no lives were saved. Are you serious? Yes, I'm serious. This is just information in the mainstream. Another trial published in the British journal, The Lancet, the biggest journal in the United Kingdom. They looked at over 1,500 patients, statin drug or placebo. The stroke death was higher in the statin group. Heart disease death was lower in the statin group. Cancer death was higher in the statin group. That's why I shared this data on the stage at The Truth About Cancer in front of tens of thousands of people. Total mortality, who lives and dies? No difference. This is a major problem. We need to get rid of this drug paradigm. It does not work for the vast majority of people. Now they hit us with this other drug, which is injectable. It's $15,000 a year, dramatically lowers down LDL cholesterol. Does that save lives according to the New England Journal of Medicine? No, no lives are saved. It's right there. In the drug group, total people that died, 444. In the placebo group, 426. So actually 18 more people died in the drug group. I couldn't be, I mean, it's just mind-blowing how people opt for these therapies. But what do? I mean, people don't know any better. They listen to their doctor, they trust their doctor, and this is the advice they're getting. And I know it because I was that doctor. I met my wife. She is a doctor of chiropractic, a doctor of causation. I learned the truth. I'm a very, very interesting fellow. I know all of their side in the medical world, and I know the holistic side, and I choose to live and practice holistically, and you're going to get those benefits. So is there a natural approach to coronary artery disease, hypertension, cholesterol, palpitations, atrial fibrillation, heart rhythm disorders, chest pain, diabetes, thyroid, cancer? Yes, there is, and I have that because if we follow the 10 health commandments, we're going to do amazing things. So summarizing real quick, get responsible paleo, get sunshine, the source of all life, get sunshine, sunburned mad, sunshine good, get sleep. Our ancestors went to sleep with the sun down, awoke with the sunrise. Get active, get outside, walk, hike, bike, garden, yoga outside. Get outside, don't sit in the gym for 45 minutes a day while you're in the artificial light, while watching some crappy television. Get hydrated, drink tons of water on a daily basis. Where's my water bottle? Here it is, close by. I always keep this with me, especially during an interview. I want to keep that going. Get chiropractic care. The doctor of chiropractic is uniquely positioned to be your go-to for all things health related. Start with the doctor of chiropractic. If they can't figure it out or can't find the ultimate solution for you, then they can help you find the person that can. Get rid of stress. Stress kills. I wrote a whole chapter about that in my book. Get away from toxins, environmental pollutants, laundry detergent, fabric softener, dryer sheets, colognes, perfumes, pesticides, those new furniture, the new carpet, the new mattress, all poison. Find a better holistic way. Get grounded, walk, stand barefoot, and then last but not least, get quality evidence-based supplements. There's so many high-quality products that are out there. The doctors Wolfson have a line of amazing products. So do other companies. Get the best of the best. If we all lived like this guy, remember this? Tom Hanks. Tom Hanks is on the remote island, and all he does on that remote island with his volleyball Wilson is eat coconuts, fish, and vegetables. You do that, you will live forever. You'll live till you're 175, and then you will die. So find that island, go to sleep, get the sunshine, eat the right food, stay away from chemicals. You'll live for a very, very, very long time. We are not programmed to be sick. We are designed to be healthy. I want to talk a little bit about keto just to give you a little refresher for those of you that do not know. So basically, when it comes to the major fuel for muscles, for skeletal muscles, for heart muscle, we want to get these fatty acids. Fatty acids are the heart's main source of fuel, and we can do that because as we utilize fatty acids or fat, as we break down fat on our bodies or when we ingest fat, it gets broken down into acetyl-CoA. That goes on to form ketones, which then plug in to the energy cycle to make energy, and then we're good to go. So essentially, when you take in fat, it comes down here, beta oxidation, acetyl-CoA, and either can become energy directly, or it becomes a ketone. And this is where when we start breaking down our fat in through this process, through all the fat in our tissues, all that excess blubber, if you will, that starts to break down, forms acetyl-CoA, ketone bodies, and then the magic all happens. Acetyl-CoA once again plugs in this cycle here, and it starts spitting off all these different molecules, NADH, stick with me here, FADH, and all that plugs into the electron transport chain, and boom, you get down to here, you get ATP, you get energy, and that's what makes all the action happen. So we don't need carbs and sugar to do it. We can do it with fat. Now, there are some differences, of course, between keto and paleo, and I'll talk about that. Here's my paleo pyramid. The foundation is vegetables, and then meat, seafood, eggs, avocado, coconuts, nuts, seeds. There really is no particular order to everything. The vegetables are the foundation. After that, above that, however you want to do it, that's up to you. But the kicker is over there on the left: free range, grass-fed, organic, local, the best of the best. That's how we want to do it. And then top right, we never want to forget spices. We never want to forget our fermented foods. We want to talk about eating organ meats because our ancestors killed animals and ate the organ first, the muscle, the skeletal muscle after that. And then, of course, drink quality water. Don't forget the spices, because the spices are nature's pharmacy. They're basically like natural pharmaceuticals, which is where pharmaceuticals came from. Fermented foods is really, really important because that is all of your good probiotics to really, really heal your gut and crank up the good gut bacteria. Differences here between keto and paleo. I think there's obviously a lot more similarities, but the similarities here are all the leafy vegetables, the healthy fats, the avocado, the olives, the coconut, and then meats. And meats, certainly please eat fish. Eat wild fish, sardine, anchovy, wild salmon. That's what you need to do. I thought dietary cholesterol was bad. I thought we should avoid cholesterol like they've been telling us for the last 50 years. No, they're idiots. They're wrong. They don't know what they're talking about. And here is from the American Journal of Clinical Nutrition, 2015. They looked at 360,000 patients, and they said cholesterol dietary-wise is not linked to heart disease, not linked to stroke. It does increase total cholesterol. It does increase LDL, which is large point fluffy LDL. It also increases HDL, so the ratio is still preserved. Dietary cholesterol is not the problem, especially when done from pasture-raised eggs, wild seafood, sardines, anchovies, and wild salmon and shellfish, and from free-range grass-fed meats. That's how you're going to do it. That's how you're going to stay healthy. What about saturated fat? I thought saturated fat was bad. Here we go again. The American Journal of Clinical Nutrition, biggest nutrition journal in the world. Meta-analysis on sat, fat, and heart disease. They look at 350,000 people. What do they find? Saturated fat is not associated with increased risk of heart disease. So it's not a cholesterol problem. It's not a saturated fat problem. What does paleo do? Paleo lowers inflammation. Love paleo nutrition. Once again, similarities to keto, some differences that we outlined there before, but you're basically following the same diet when you go with paleo or keto. Low carb shifts the lipid panel in the right direction. This is from the International Journal of Cardiology. We've known this since 2006. We lower VLDL, that's good. Increase large LDL, that's good. Decrease small LDL, that's good. Increase large HDL. We want to increase HDL, the quality HDLs. That's really what's super important here. Now, we get to a journal that looks at the keto diet. And this is the Experimental and Clinical Cardiology. So we don't have a lot of information yet, but this goes back to 2004. They took 83 obese people, and they followed keto for 24 weeks. And let's see what happens. Well, wouldn't you know it? Body weight went down. Total cholesterol went down. HDL goes up. This is good. LDL goes down. This is good. So that ever important ratio of LDL to HDL, that starts to change. That ratio goes down because LDLs are going down, HDLs are going up. And when that happens, you lower your risk of heart attack, stroke, and dying. Triglycerides go down, which is always very important. Look how the triglyceride level was cut by more than half. This is absolutely tremendous when people follow keto. Fasting blood sugar goes down. Diabetes is linked to a higher risk of everything. Brain disease, heart disease, cancer, autoimmune, you name it. Fasting blood sugar goes down. Sign me up. This particular study looked at 12 weeks where they randomized people to low fat, high carb, and high fat, low carb. And they had the same calorie intake. But look at what happened when you went to high fat, low carb versus the other. Blood pressure dropped significantly. Fasting insulin dropped better. Triglycerides actually went up in the low fat group. In this group, the high fat triglycerides went down. But look at cholesterol. Really what matters here is that the total cholesterol is not very important, but what really matters is this HDL. The HDLs went up in the high fat group. That's really the kicker. So total didn't make much of a difference in the high fat, but who cares about total? What really matters is, did we improve this ratio? And we did dramatically because the HDL went up. And then finally, what's super important for heart disease, more important than lipids, is inflammation. And inflammation dropped on high fat, low carb. Inflammation stayed the same on low fat, high carb. So go high fat, low carb. Here's more things. When we looked at, what the diet was, in this study, look at this, saturated fat, 35% or 35 grams came from saturated fat. 21% of their energy intake came from sat fat. That's crazy. Sat fat is not the problem. Look at this. What they did as far as total cholesterol consumption was sky high. Dietary fiber was much less in this group. Protein was higher. But if you look at this once again, it is a winner, where if you go back up and you see what it did, it dropped inflammation, improved HDL, lowered blood pressure, lowered insulin. This is all great news and very exciting for the high fat, low carb. Here's another study from 2017, Lancet. How about this? High carbs equals higher risk of dying. That's not good. High fat equals lower risk of dying. Higher saturated fat equals lower stroke risk. High fat, low carb is the way to go. Do not be afraid of saturated fat. Now in this study here, the effect of replacing sat fat, when they looked at this randomized trials here, what you found is that when they looked at trials that were adequately controlled, this number here, statistics-wise, anything above 1, said that it was a problem. So when you replace saturated fat with polyunsaturated fats, typically going to be from soybean oil, corn oil, sunflower, safflower oils, you're going to be in trouble. You don't want to do that. Stick with sat fat according to the Nutrition Journal 2017. And then we're getting towards the end here, replacing saturated fat with monounsaturated fat, polyunsaturated fat increases AFib risk. They found this to be true in men only. American Journal of Cardiology, one of the biggest cardiology journals in the world, 2017. Do not replace the sat fat with anything. Increase sat fat. Do not be afraid of sat fat. The information they gave us on sat fat in the 1960s and 70s just killed off so many people from following the wrong dietary advice. Cardiac benefits of intermittent fasting. Often when we talk about keto and we talk about paleo, we talk about intermittent fasting, whether it's an 18-hour fast where we skip a meal, a 24-hour fast where we skip 2 meals, or a 36-hour fast where we skip 3 days. That's my favorite, is a 36-hour water fast where I have a meal on Saturday night, nothing Sunday morning, Sunday for lunch, Sunday for dinner, and then Monday morning I break it with a greens drink, and I just load up on water intake during that time. And just look at the benefits here of what intermittent fasting does. In the medical literature, email me if you want the references on this. How about that? Weight loss lowers blood pressure, lowers inflammation, lowers oxidative stress, lowers blood sugar, lowers insulin levels, which is good, improves lung function, decreases smooth muscle cell proliferation inside those vessels. That's important. In the middle, lower total cholesterol, lower LDL, increased LDL size, that's good. Increased HDL, that's good. Increased HDL function, that's the holy grail, is HDL function, as HDL travels around the body and pulls cholesterol from plaque, helps to heal plaque. Immune booster, tremendous stuff on that HDL. Lower triglycerides with intermittent fasting. Increased heart rate variability, that means people live longer. The higher the heart rate variability, the longer you live. Increased adiponectin, these are very important hormones. Increased parasympathetic tone, that's key to balance the autonomic nervous system. Increased endothelial function, so better blood pressure, better blood flow, better erectile function for men and women. Here's one thing that I found very interesting is that when you're fasting, lower testosterone, lower sexual desire, and lowers frequency of intercourse. So just take that for what it is. This was just a non-randomized trial where they looked at men during Ramadan. But part of the reality is that when you're fasting, you're more in, your body is interested in preserving and its health, and it's looking for food, and it's digesting, and it's got all these different things going on there. Therefore, it's not really overly interested in sexual intercourse, just FYI. And that's it for today. Thanks so much. I'm Dr. Jack Wolfson, the Paleo Cardiologist of the Doctors Wolfson. Check out our website, thedoctorswolfson.com. If you like us, subscribe to our YouTube channel. Would love to have you on there. Be in touch. We'll get you some great information. No garbage, no fluff, just hardcore health information, living like the Doctors Wolfson. My wife, my 3 kids, and I've got a fantastic gift for you today. You can head over to this top 20 supplements for heart health, thedoctorswolfson.com / yada, yada, yada. You got the information there on your screen. Copy it, write it down, email us at health@thedoctorswolfson, and we'll get you that information today. So once again, thank you so much for joining me. It is absolutely a pleasure to speak with you, and we will catch you next time.